Hello everybody, Hellcracks here, and welcome to another Mercenary Thoughts from the Inner Sphere. And today we're going to be talking about the Saracen Medium Hover Tank. 35 tons, it's an 812 mover, has 0 heat sinks. Well, obviously you don't need them if you got internal combustion engine. You only have either AC or missiles, autocannons, or missiles. You don't have to worry about such things, which is not bad. All right. It has 112 points of armor, which is more than enough to keep it going for about a couple turns, if you're lucky. And it doesn't get focus fired down. So that's basically 24 on the front and 24 on the sides and rear. So it's pretty well rounded. It can take an AC-20 and keep on ticking. Hopefully you don't take any motive hits, because if you take a motive hit in the side, you usually slow down and you become cannon fodder. Alright, now, weapons. Kind of a interesting little... This kind of reminds me of the Striker. This is basically a Striker with hover, so it's faster. Alright, so you got an LRM-10 in the turret with 3 SRM-2s in the turret, with basically 2 tons of ammo for the LRM, and then you have a ton of ammo with the SRMs. So really you don't need more than a single ton for the SRMs, unless you somehow either want to fire your standard damaging ones, or if you had an extra ton of ammo, go with infernos. So you could combine them. It's like, come throw a couple infernos and a standard damage. Or you can throw all infernos. It depends on how you want to look at it. But you can't. You have to decide one or the other. I have a tendency to like using infernos with my SRM-2s if I had the extra ammo to go with it. Because, let me tell you, you hit a vehicle with inferno rounds, you hit infantry with inferno rounds, yeah, you're making a very bad day for them. And I've stated many times that if you hit a mech with infernos, well, you have a tendency to heat them up. And if you're playing against players that like to run their mechs hot, I'm guaranteed it's like, oh yeah, that's their standard operating procedure, is running hot and around the 10 to 15 heat range, and you slam a battery of infernal missiles into them and cook them up by 6. You have a tendency to possibly make them shut down or blow up. I've done that before. Now, basic tactics of this. I more or less look at the Saracen as a support tank. Why, you ask? Well, with the LRM-10 and the speed, this is a vehicle that can get around pretty quickly and stay hopefully at medium range, and using its speed to prevent it from being hit. Now, when you get this vehicle in close, within, say, short range of the LRM, or with the range of your SRMs, this vehicle has a tendency to die fairly quickly, because then it starts taking hits, then it gets those motive hits, and being a hovercraft, it's what, a +2 on the motive chart. If you hit him in the side, I think a +3 or something like that in the rear, off the top of my head. Yeah, it's like if you can get in behind or to the flanks of one of these hovercraft and you hit them, you got a good chance of slowing them down. And any vehicle that slows down of this nature, they die. So it behooves you to, it's like if you're facing off against something like this, your LBXs, your SRMs, that kind of nature of weapons, shooting at vehicles, yeah, you're doing a good job of, or a good chance for motive hits. There, it behooves you to do such things. Now, like I said, it's a kind of a flanking type vehicle. You got the speed, you're an 812, you can get around, hit the flanks, and then if you got a lance of these guys, then you can pick a single target, especially if it's been hammered pretty hard earlier where, you know, you got some open spots, and your typical damage output of an LRM-10 I've always found is about 6. You're doing a 5 and a 1. And the 5 is good for taking off a good portion of damage, and the 1 is basically your crit hunter. They both can do the crits, but if you got a lance of these guys and they hit, you know, that's a respectable up to 40 damage. Typically it's 6 per, so 20, and then 4 one-pointers. And it could vary. You can get some other ones that are a little higher, you know, was it the 8, 10 range, and then others will be slightly less. So your mileage may vary per roll, but on an average you're doing about 6. So I always like to use them to get around, hit the flanks, find a target, and just keep pouring it on, and stay out of range of their longer range weapons. The sweet spot for one of these vehicles is 10 to 14. Outside of the shorter range weapon systems, if you find somebody that's already moved, stay within that 10 to 14 range, so your LRM is actually medium range. You don't have a lot of problems hitting, and then just pour it on, and stay outside of their weapon systems that are, maybe they have a bunch of medium lasers, SRMs, etc. If you get a Saracen hit with an SRM-6, a couple SRM-6s, the odds are it's going to be motive hit down pretty quickly. So keep an eye on your ranges. If you see somebody that's already moved, yeah, it's like, okay, this is my range band area where it's my sweet spot, right? There. Now, there are a few variants of this. There's like 2. One I'm not, okay. You know, it's like, can work fairly decently, but here we go. There's the Saracen MRM version. Basically, that's, you know, it goes out to 15. It has an MRM 20, has a single streak 2, so it got rid of 3 streaks. Oh, not Synnet streaks. 3 SRM 2s with that single ton of ammo. Adds a fusion reactor, so it replaces your basic internal combustion engine, replaces it with a fusion engine, and gives it streak 2 and an MRM 20. Now, an MRM 20 can do some good damage if it hits. It's got that +1. With the speed of something like this, you can get in there fairly quickly, deliver that MRM 20 to your target, and hope that you hit. Now, 4 of these, let me tell you, I've played games where we faced off like a whole lance of mechs that had MRM 20s, and all it takes is just a couple of those hits on your typical vehicle or medium to light mech, and it gets hurt pretty hard. Even a heavy mech getting hit that, you know, with something like that can do some damage to them. Now, the only thing I disagree with, all right, you put a fusion reactor on a hovercraft, so now you got 10 free heat sinks. Why would you replace your 3 medium or SRM2s with a single streak 2? Give me 3 medium lasers. You had 4 tons right there. Just give me 3 medium lasers. That saves you an extra ton to go someplace else. That's maybe another ton towards your ammo or something of that nature, specialist ammo. Well, you can't use specialist ammo with the MRM 20. Basically, you can rip out the MRM 20 and replace it with an LRM 15 with another specialist ammo. You know, kind of like how I look at it. That might be a better deal to have. It's probably a little bit more in battle value, but when you're looking at about $675, yeah, that's not bad option. And if you do get close, and you got the speed, it's like the 3 medium lasers are going to do a lot more damage. One single medium laser is going to do more damage than that streak 2. And you got the heat sinks. Why not? That's just a logical thing. Put them in the turret. And use that extra tons for something else, like your LRM-15. Get rid of the MRM, if you want to. Now, there's the Saracen Mark II. Well, this was basically, it's Mark I, but just been overhauled. But, there's not much to be said about it. I think, let me look here if I got a Saracen Mark II anywhere. Nope. Yeah, it's just an overhaul. Nothing really spectacular to be said about it. They don't even list anything that's different about it that I know of. Let me check here. Mark II. It's got the MML7s. All right. And 2 ER medium lasers. So you got a fusion reactor, ferrofibrous armor, and an MML7. Okay. That I can sort of get by. If you got the extra ammo to go with it, you can use HE and extended range. So, yeah, you're not doing a lot of damage out at long range, but you do have extended range. So, yeah, you can sit back across the table and give some damage to somebody. And the 2 ER medium lasers got a little bit of range for him close. So, that's just, they're kind of using some logic. You're taking the standard Saracen, you're upgrading it with a little bit more advanced weapons. So, yeah, I can get behind that. Now, that's it. That's pretty much it when it comes to the Saracen. There's not a lot to be said about it. You just have to look at the tactics with this kind of vehicle. You don't want to get it in too close, but if you do have to get in close, you do have those SRMs. And I actually, to be honest, I would prefer to just have a single ton of inferno. So if you do get in close, light them up, cook them. Or if now this is another tactic I like to use. Is like, okay, you got vehicles or something hiding in some wooded area, or even infantry or buildings. Shoot the buildings with the inferno rounds and cook them out, because infantry in a building that's on fire, they start taking damage. Vehicles will start taking damage. It behooves you to, and what it does is forces them out of their defensive positions. To me, that's a logical use of those 3 SRMs instead of just trying to do damage with them. And let me tell you, lighting the field up, it's like you got a bunch of wooded areas and you hit them with infernos and you start lighting them on fire. Well, then you're throwing out some screening smoke too. So, there. And that will help you in the long run, possibly, because the longer you can keep these vehicles going, that is in your favor. All right. So that's it. That's the Saracen Medium Hover Tank. Hope you guys like it. Like and subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll see you in the next one. Elcrex out.